If you've hit a coordination wall, I want you to try something. This action step is very simple, yet often very challenging even if you're a more advanced player. But if you can master this next step, you can actually unlock a lot more complex independence potential. Kick and snare syncopation becomes easier, left-hand ghost notes on the snare becomes easier, and even hand-to-hand or hand-to-foot polyrhythms becomes easier. We'll break down some simple exercises today that actually will help you do all of those things, help you build your four-way coordination, free your limbs to play fluidly, be the drummer that you are meant to be. So, this is exciting. Let's dig into this. Hey, before we get rolling, if you're new to the channel or if you just haven't checked out this free PDF guide, I want you to go do it because it's full of a lot of really good stuff that's gonna help you a bunch. This guide's been helping a lot of drummers. It's called Know What to Practice, the 3-part daily practice guide. How to make faster progress in less time and structure your practice routines for maximum results, even if you just have 30 minutes a day. This guide is yours, totally free. Download the free PDF in the description. Here's the first thing I want you to do. This is kind of a litmus test, like a foundational reset. I love these kinds of things. These are simple things where when you play them, weaknesses get exposed and you realize, oh wait, I thought I knew how to do this and actually I don't. So these are those humbling kinds of exercises that'll actually expose little weaknesses in your playing. And of course, what's the best way to grow? By exposing weaknesses. So this is very worth practicing. So this first step, all that this is, we're gonna play eighth notes on the ride with the right hand, and we're gonna play 16ths on the snare with the left hand, and then we're just gonna do quarters on the ride with the right hand, continuing to do 16ths with the left hand. We're gonna do this very slowly at 60 beats a minute. Now, if you're just watching this lesson, you're not, at your kit playing along, you're just watching this, you might be like, that's super simple. Why are we doing this? Well, for a few reasons. So you might find, and a lot of drummers find this, that as soon as they sit down and they try to play faster with their left hand than their right hand, suddenly things get really sloppy and fall apart. It'd be one thing to play 16ths with the right hand, 8ths with the left, or 16ths with the right hand, quarters with the left. But because we flipped it the other way around, we're making the weak hand play more notes. It feels out of balance, it feels clumsy, it feels unstable, and that's the way it is for most drummers that sit down and play this. So even though it looks simple, it looks easy, sometimes it can expose big coordination weaknesses. So you gotta try it for yourself, see what happens. But once you can do that well, once you're feeling good about that, then transition to moving that left hand part to the kick. So now we can play the same thing, 8th notes on the ride, 16ths on the kick, and then do quarter notes on the ride, still the 16ths on the kick. That's such an unusual thing to play that isn't exactly like something you might play in a song. And so a lot of times this will throw things off. It will expose the fact that, wait a second, I can't play slow timekeeping while playing lots of notes on the kick or snare. But what's really cool is that if you can do this, if you practice this and you learn to play a lot of notes on the snare or a lot of notes on the kick while doing sparse timekeeping, whether it's 8th notes or just quarter notes with the right hand, that means that you're freeing up the ability to play more syncopation between the kick and the snare, which means more ghost notes, effortless kick patterns that you're not having to think so much about because you're teaching these limbs, the snare and the kick limbs, to play in between the right hand. A lot of times kick wants to follow the right hand or left hand wants to follow the right hand. This is forcing that split, and that's something that you may need to work on because this is something so many drummers face, and if you've never practiced something like this, you've only played typical where it's quarters on kick and snare, 8ths or 16ths on the right hand. That's often very natural. When you're playing basic songs, that's what you do a lot of, but rarely do we flip it around. Flipping it around exposes these weaknesses, so practice that. Now, if you've done that, if you're ready to move on to something a little more challenging, our step 2 is gonna be where we start removing notes from the pattern. So what we're going to do is still doing the 8th note and then the quarter note timekeeping with the right hand. We're going to remove certain 16th notes from our left hand pattern. Just for the sake of time here showing it to you, I'm going to do quarter notes on the ride, just quarters while going through those different patterns on the snare. And as you're practicing all of these, remember that you can practice at different tempos, different dynamics, gradually get a little faster. The thing is, when you're working coordination, speed should not be an immediate goal. That should be something down the road, because the way that your brain builds coordination, the way that you process that is by playing something so slow that you're able to feel out and thoroughly process and think about what each limb is doing. As soon as you're going too fast for that, your brain isn't actually processing it well, and you're not actually building coordination, even if you're fumbling through it. So it's important to do these very slowly, even if you need to go slower than 60. We've just been playing at 60, but you can go 55, 50 if you want to. But once you're feeling really comfortable, sure, you can start going a little faster, but there's no need to go really fast with this. So take your time. What's also really fun to do is practice different dynamics. So like practice making right hand loud, left hand soft, or right hand soft, left hand loud. And there's no rule that says you got to put your right hand on the ride. That's just what I was doing. You could do right hand on the floor tom, right hand on the hi-hat, or you could do right hand on the snare, left hand on the hi-hat. Mix it up any way you want to so that your ear is hearing different things, because that actually boosts your coordination. When your ear is hearing different sounds, it's forcing you to process it differently, even if your hands are actually playing the same rhythms. And so doing different dynamics, different instrumentations can also help boost your coordination even more. So practice it that way, kind of to go the extra mile. But now, if you can play those patterns, once you've learned those, you're ready for something that's really fun and also very practical and musical. And that is the 4/3 polyrhythm. So what we want to train our left hand to be able to do is play random rhythms in the middle of a sparse right hand timekeeping pattern. And so we can play, without going into all the details of the music theory, we could play a dotted eighth pattern with our left hand while playing quarter notes with the right hand. All that means is we're playing the snare every 3/16. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. That pattern. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E. Right hand's the quarter note. Left hand is playing a dotted eighth pattern. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. And if we're playing in a 4/4, which means we're playing 4 beats at a time, we're landing together on beat 4 and then starting together on beat 1. So there's that little pause in the pattern. But that's basically a 4/3 polyrhythm, because for every 3 notes that the right hand's playing here, the left hand is playing 4 in the same space. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, stop. 1, 2, 3, stop. So you can see how every 3 notes over here is 4 notes over here. And so if you can practice that rhythm, just going 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. Right hand just playing quarters on the beats. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. Practice that really slow. Start to get that down, because if you're able to play the previous 2 steps of this exercise, you're ready to do this. And what this will do is really help free your left hand's ability to just improvise within right hand timekeeping. And of course, you can also practice this with the right foot. Now we could just play this in 3/4, leaving off that 4th beat so that the pattern continues without having to stop and then restart. There's so much you can do with the 4/3 polyrhythm. It's so musical, so versatile, and it comes out in so many grooves you've heard. If you just go through and listen to some of your favorite songs, you might start to pick up on that occasionally, especially if there's like a jungle drums thing where the kick is playing quarter notes and the toms are playing something a little quicker. That rhythm is very much a 4/3. So you're probably already familiar and it sticks in your head, floats around in your head naturally, and so it's a good one to learn. Now, we kind of just skimmed the surface with polyrhythms today. There's another video I did a while back where we go into more detail about the 4/3 polyrhythm, and there's a lot of notation on some different groove examples, including some of the stuff I just played, and just some additional tips for memorizing it, hearing it, practicing it different ways, using it around the kit. So I'll link that video in the description. If you want to know more about polyrhythms and you want to really master this, go check that out where we spend a whole video going in depth about polyrhythms. But in the meantime, follow your action steps for today. Practice those exercises I showed you. Start off just with quarters or 8ths over here, 16ths here. Do that on the kick also, and then do those patterns where you take out a 16th with the left hand or with the right foot part. That's really gonna build your ability to play different kick drum patterns that maybe you couldn't play before, as well as snare ghosting patterns that maybe you couldn't play before. And so these are simple exercises, but very powerful in that they expose weaknesses. And when you overcome these weaknesses, you build 4-way coordination. And that's exactly what we want so we can be fluid drummers playing our favorite songs with ease. But if you're still having trouble with coordination, or if maybe you've mastered some of this and you just want to know what the next steps are and know how you can go further, check out that free e-guide I mentioned to you earlier, the Know What to Practice 3-part daily practice guide that shows you exactly what you need to be working on regularly so that you can reach your goals on the drums. This guide is very deep and it has the 3 main parts that should make up your practicing: hand technique, coordination, and music. And in the coordination section, there are 2 more entirely different strategies for building coordination. 2 other just completely different ways of looking at this that'll work some of these same things from maybe a different angle. So if you had trouble with this, check those out. You might find those a little bit easier or just more fun or just different, more challenging. Go check out the guide. I mean, needless to say, it's a no-brainer. Go download the guide because it's free and check these things out because it's going to provide you with very concrete, specific, practical things to take to your practice room. So go download it. It's yours today, totally free. You can put it on your iPad, print it out, take it to your practice room. Hey, as always, thanks for watching. I really hope this video helps you out. I hope this helps build your coordination. I hope it helps break down some barriers and give you the ability to play things that you couldn't play before working this. So don't just watch the video, take action, download that guide, work these action steps we covered today, go to your practice room, work these things so that you're really making progress. You're really becoming the drummer that you are meant to be. Being fluid, playing your favorite songs with ease. I'm excited to hear more about how this helps you. So thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe, of course, and stay non-glamorous. I'll see you on the next video.